I stared at my phone screen, reading Nathan's text message for the 15th time. Getting married next week? Thought you should know. Just like that. 8 words to crush what remained of my world. My name is Amelia, and 6 months ago, I thought I had the perfect marriage. Now I was sitting in the break room of Marshall's department store, gripping my phone so hard my knuckles turned white, while my ex-husband casually announced his engagement to another woman. You okay there? You look like you're about to snap that phone in half. Jenna dropped into the chair across from me, unwrapping her sandwich. She took one look at my face and set it down. What happened? I slid the phone across the table. She read the message, and something shifted in her expression. Not just sympathy, recognition. Nathan's getting married, I said, my voice flat. To someone named Vanessa Crawford. Jenna's sandwich fell from her hands. Vanessa Crawford, dark hair, green eyes, always wearing expensive jewelry. You know her? Oh, honey, Jenna whispered. She's the reason my brother lost everything 2 years ago. Marriage scam. She's done it at least 3 times that I know of. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as my mind processed this information. 3 times. Marriage scam. The pieces started clicking together. Nathan's sudden distance 6 months ago, the missing money from our joint account, the rushed divorce. I need to warn him, I said, reaching for my phone. Jenna's hand shot out, stopping me. He won't believe you. Trust me, we tried warning her last victim. Men like that, they only learn the hard way. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Nathan. By the way, we're using the beach house for the ceremony. Hope that's cool. The beach house. My grandmother's beach house. The one I'd inherited and foolishly put in both our names because I believed in forever. I think I'm going to throw up, I managed. No, Jenna said, her voice hardening. You're going to get even. I looked up at her, surprised by the steel in her tone. She pulled out her own phone, scrolling through old photos until she found what she was looking for. There she was, Vanessa Crawford, draped over some man who wasn't Nathan, both of them wearing wedding rings. The timestamp showed it was from 18 months ago. That's her with husband number 3, Jenna explained, before she cleaned out his bank account and disappeared. My hand stopped shaking. The nausea was replaced by something else, something cold and clarifying. Tell me everything you know about her. You sure you want to go down this road? Jenna asked, but she was already pulling up more photos, more evidence. He's using my grandmother's house to marry her, I said. The house she left me because she wanted it to be filled with family and love. So, yes, I'm sure. Jenna nodded slowly. Okay then. But we do this smart. We do this right. She glanced at her watch. My shift ends in an hour. Meet me at Murphy's bar after work. I'll bring everything I have on her. I stood up, smoothing down my store uniform. The break room suddenly felt too small, too confined. I should call Marcus, I said, thinking of my brother, the lawyer. He'll want to know about this. Good idea. You'll need him. Jenna's eyes met mine. Just remember, once you start this, there's no going back. I picked up my phone, composing a new message to Nathan. Congratulations. Hope you got a prenup. Then I deleted it without sending. Some responses were better served cold, planned, and perfect. The break room door swung shut behind me as I headed back to the sales floor, already mapping out the first steps of what needed to be done. Nathan thought he could take everything from me twice. He was about to learn otherwise. Marcus's law office always smelled like leather and coffee. I sat across from his massive desk, watching him scroll through the photos Jenna had sent me. His expression darkened with each swipe of his finger. This is definitely the same woman, he said, placing his phone down with the careful precision I recognized from childhood, the way he'd set down a chess piece before declaring checkmate. And you're sure about the beach house? Nathan's text was pretty clear. I traced the edge of the leather chair arm. He's using Grandma Rose's house for his wedding to a known con artist. The house we specifically advised you not to put in joint names. Marcus's tone wasn't accusatory, but I flinched anyway. Can you help me stop them? Legally, no. The divorce agreement gives him equal right to use it. He leaned back, studying me. But that's not why you're really here, is it? Before I could answer, the office door burst open. Our mother swept in, designer handbag swinging. There you are. I've been calling both of you all morning. Mother, I'm with a client, Marcus said smoothly. I'm your sister. I reminded him. Still billable hours. He winked, then turned to our mother. What's wrong? Nathan called. She dropped into the chair beside me. He wants us all at the wedding. Says it wouldn't feel right without his former in-laws there. Isn't that sweet? My stomach lurched. You're not going. Of course we are. Henry's already confirmed. Nathan's like a son to us. A son who cheated on your daughter and married someone else 6 months later, Marcus pointed out. Mother waved her hand dismissively. People make mistakes. Besides, this Vanessa seems lovely. She's already invited me to join their country club committee. I exchanged looks with Marcus. Of course, Vanessa would target our parents. They were exactly the kind of wealthy, socially connected marks she preferred. Mom, I started, but Marcus cut me off with a slight headshake. Mother, why don't you let me review the country club paperwork before you sign anything? He suggested. Just standard procedure. Always the lawyer, she sighed, standing. Amelia, darling, please tell me you're not going to make this difficult. Nathan's happy. You should be too. After she left, I slumped in my chair. She's going to get hurt. Not if we move quickly. Marcus pulled up another document on his computer. Jenna's brother wasn't Vanessa's only victim. I found 3 more cases, different names, but same MO. She gets close to wealthy families, builds trust, then disappears with everything she can grab. We have to show Nathan. He won't believe it. Men like him, their egos won't let them see they're being played. Marcus typed something else. But I might have another angle. The beach house's deed has an interesting clause. Grandma Rose stipulated it must be used for family gatherings in good faith. What does that mean? It means, he smiled, that if someone tries to use it for fraudulent purposes, ownership reverts solely to her blood descendants. Hope flickered. So, if we can prove Vanessa's planning to scam Nathan, the house becomes yours entirely. He held up a warning finger. But we'd need solid evidence, and getting it might require you to play nice. My phone buzzed. A text from Nathan. Need to discuss wedding details. Dinner tomorrow? Marcus read it over my shoulder. Perfect opportunity. To do what? To make him think you're accepting this, that you're moving on. He met my eyes. Think you can handle that? I thought of our grandmother, how she'd loved that beach house, how she'd wanted it to stay in the family. I thought of Jenna's brother, broken and bankrupted. I thought of my mother, already falling for Vanessa's act. I can handle anything, I said, typing my reply to Nathan. Dinner sounds great. So happy for you both. Marcus nodded approvingly. Just remember, the best revenge isn't served cold, it's served with a smile. I gathered my things, pausing at the door. What if we're wrong? What if he really loves her? Then he's still the man who cheated on my sister and gave away her inheritance to a stranger. Marcus's voice hardened. Either way, he needs to learn actions have consequences. I stepped out into the hallway, my phone already buzzing with Nathan's response about dinner details. Time to see if those acting classes in college would finally pay off. Murphy's bar hadn't changed since college. Same sticky floors, same dim lighting, same corner booth where Jenna waited with a manila folder and 2 whiskey sours. I slid in across from her, still wearing my work uniform. You're not going to like what I found, she said, pushing the folder toward me. Inside were photographs, dozens of them. Vanessa with different men, different rings, different names. But one photo made my hands shake. Nathan and Vanessa outside my grandmother's beach house, dated 3 months before our divorce. They knew each other, I whispered, while we were still married. There's more. Jenna pulled out a document. Remember how Nathan insisted on handling the house maintenance last year? Look who he hired for the appraisal. The company name jumped out, Crawford and Associates Real Estate Valuations. Vanessa's family business, Jenna explained. They deliberately undervalued the property before your divorce. Nathan knew exactly what he was doing. The whiskey burned going down. How did you get all this? My brother kept everything from when she took him for $250,000. Police wouldn't touch it. Too much, he said, she said. She paused. But there's something else you need to see. She pulled up a video on her phone. The footage was grainy, security camera quality, showing Vanessa in an intense conversation with someone in a parking lot. The timestamp was from last week. Is that? I leaned closer. Your father? Yeah. Jenna's voice was gentle. They've been meeting regularly. I think she's already working him for investment money. My phone buzzed. A text from Nathan about tomorrow's dinner. The screen blurred as tears threatened to fall. I can't do this, I said. I can't sit across from them and pretend. Yes, you can. Jenna grabbed my hand. Because if you don't, your parents will lose everything, just like my brother did. The bar door opened, letting in a blast of cold air and a familiar figure. Marcus strode toward us, his suit jacket slung over one shoulder. Got your message, he said to Jenna, then looked at me. How bad? Dad's involved, I managed. Marcus swore under his breath, scanning the documents. This changes things. We need to move faster. The dinner tomorrow, Jenna suggested. It's perfect. Get them talking about the wedding plans, the house? No. Marcus's voice was sharp. Too risky. If they suspect we're onto them, then what? I stood up, anger finally breaking through. We wait while they steal our parents blind? While they turn our family's home into another crime scene? Sit down, Marcus hissed, glancing around. You're not thinking clearly. Neither is Dad, apparently, but that's not stopping him from… Your father, a new voice cut in, is trying to protect you. We all turned. There stood Henry, my father, looking older than I'd ever seen him. He slid into the booth beside me. How long have you been here? I asked. Long enough. He picked up one of the photos. I've been meeting with Vanessa because I'm gathering evidence. Have been since Nathan first introduced her to us. The silence that followed was deafening. Why didn't you tell me? I finally asked. Because you're my daughter. I wanted to spare you this. He spread the photos across the table. But it seems you found your way here anyway. Does Mom know? Your mother sees the best in everyone. It's why I fell in love with her. It's also why I have to protect her. He looked at each of us. So, what's our next move? Marcus leaned forward. We have dinner tomorrow. We let them think they're winning. And then we show them what happens when you mess with our family. I finished. My phone buzzed again. Nathan sending the restaurant details. I looked at the message, then at my father's determined face, at Marcus's calculating expression, at Jenna's fierce loyalty. I'll wear the blue dress, I said, the one Nathan always hated. For the first time that night, everyone smiled. Tomorrow's dinner would be a performance, but not the one Nathan and Vanessa were expecting. They thought they were the players, but they were about to become the played. The blue dress felt like armor as I walked into Salvatore's. Nathan was already there, holding court at our old favorite table, Vanessa draped across his arm like a designer scarf. My father's intel had been right. She was wearing the tennis bracelet from her last mark. Amelia! Nathan stood, arms open for a hug I deftly avoided by pretending to adjust my chair. You look… different. Divorce agrees with me. I smiled, watching his confidence flicker. Vanessa leaned forward, all warmth and concern. Nathan's told me so much about you. I hope we can be friends. Of course. I touched the recording device Marcus had disguised as a pendant. I'd love to hear how you two met. Their stories didn't match. Nathan claimed they'd bumped into each other at a coffee shop 3 months ago. Vanessa said it was at a charity gala 4 months ago. Small inconsistencies, but telling ones. The beach house is perfect for the ceremony, Vanessa gushed, though it needs some updating. That old wiring? Wiring? I set down my wine glass. It was completely rewired last year. The inspection says otherwise. Nathan pulled out his phone. Actually, I wanted to discuss that. The renovation costs are your problem now. I cut him off, remembering Marcus's warning not to engage about the house yet. Vanessa's hand slipped under the table, probably reaching for Nathan's knee. Her tell, according to Jenna's notes, she was about to make a play. Actually, she said, we were hoping you might want to sell your share. Start fresh. Funny you should mention that. I pulled out my own phone, pulling up the photos Dad had taken. I was at the beach house yesterday. The wiring's fine, but I did find something interesting in the garage. Nathan's face changed. He knew what was in that garage, boxes of financial records my grandmother had kept, including details of every property transaction in the family for the past 30 years. We should order, he said quickly. The veal here is excellent. It's fascinating reading, I continued, especially the part about Crawford and Associates. Your family's company has quite a history, Vanessa. Though I noticed they operated under different names before. The warmth in her eyes turned arctic. I don't discuss business at dinner. No, that's not what Timothy Chen said, or Robert Walsh, or my father. Nathan's fork clattered against his plate. Your father? Oh, didn't she tell you? They've been having the most interesting meetings. I turned to Vanessa. Dad says hi, by the way. He particularly enjoyed your pitch about the offshore investments. Vanessa stood abruptly. Powder room, she muttered, grabbing her purse. Don't bother checking your phone, I called after her. The signal's already been blocked. Once she was gone, Nathan leaned forward. What are you doing? Protecting my family, something you used to care about. You don't understand? I understand perfectly. You needed money after that failed real estate deal last year. The one you hid from me. Vanessa offered a solution, didn't she? Undervalue the beach house, split the property and the divorce, then sell it for its real worth later. It's not that simple. It never is with con artists. I stood up. You have 24 hours to call off the wedding and walk away. After that, everything I have goes to the FBI. You're bluffing. Try me. I dropped a USB drive on the table. Consider it a wedding present. Copies of everything. The fake appraisals, the wire transfers, the previous marriages. Even that interesting offshore account in your name. His face went pale. How did you... You're not the only one who can play games, Nathan. I gathered my things. 24 hours. Oh, and when Vanessa gets back, tell her Timothy Chen says the statute of limitations isn't up yet. I walked out of Salvatore's feeling lighter than I had in months. In my purse, my phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Dad's contact at the FBI is ready. Sure you want to do this? I thought about Nathan's face when I mentioned the offshore account, an account I'd completely invented. His reaction told me everything I needed to know. There were more secrets, deeper betrayals. I'm sure, I typed back. Time to let the storm break. 3 a.m, and my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Nathan's number flashed on the screen for the 12th time. I let it go to voicemail, like the others, and returned to sorting through the stack of papers spread across my bedroom floor. The doorbell rang. Then again, and again. I opened my apartment door to find Vanessa, mascara streaked down her face, designer purse clutched like a shield. We need to talk. She pushed past me into the apartment. Whatever you think you know. I know enough. I left the door open. Get out. You don't understand. She dropped onto my couch. Nathan's not who you think he is. He's not who I thought he was either. Something in her voice made me pause. What do you mean? Check your email, now. I pulled up my phone, found a new message from an anonymous address. The attachments showed financial records, not just Nathan's offshore accounts, but transfers to shell companies, dates stretching back years before our marriage. He's been running his own game, Vanessa said quietly. Using women like me to access wealthy families, then disappearing with their investments. I was supposed to be his next mark. My hands shook. You expect me to believe you're the victim here? I expect you to look at the evidence. She pulled out more documents. Your father isn't investigating me. Nathan's been feeding him false information, setting him up for a massive investment fraud. The beach house? It's already been sold. The paperwork goes through tomorrow morning. The room spun. I grabbed the wall for support. That's not possible. The deed was transferred last week. Nathan forged your signature. She met my eyes. Check the county records if you don't believe me. My phone buzzed again. Marcus this time. Turn on the news, his text read. The TV flickered to life, showing breaking news. Local investment manager arrested in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. The manager's face filled the screen, my father's oldest friend and business partner. Nathan's cleaning house, Vanessa said. Removing anyone who might expose him, your father's next? Why are you telling me this? Because I made a mistake thinking I could beat him at his own game. She stood up. And because your brother's FBI contact, he works for Nathan. My phone rang again, my mother this time. Dad's gone, she sobbed when I answered. He left a note about meeting Nathan, but his phone's dead and... Call Marcus, I cut in. Tell him to meet us at the beach house, now. After my mother hung up, I turned to Vanessa. If you're lying, I'm not. She pulled out her phone, showing me surveillance photos of Nathan with other women, other families. I've been gathering evidence for months, but he's always one step ahead. Why should I trust you? Because right now, I'm the only one who knows where he's taking your father. She headed for the door. Coming? I grabbed my keys and the USB drive containing everything we'd gathered. The revenge I'd planned suddenly felt small, childish compared to what we were facing. He'll be expecting us, I said as we rushed down the stairs. Good, Vanessa's voice hardened. Let him. I didn't spend 3 years tracking him just to let him disappear again. In the parking lot, another text from Marcus. Dad's car found abandoned at Marina, police en route. The boat, Vanessa and I said simultaneously. The one registered to Crawford and Associates, she added. He uses it to move money offshore. We jumped into my car. As I pulled onto the street, my phone rang one last time. Nathan's voice filled the speaker. You should have taken the deal at dinner, he said. Now your father gets to learn what happens when people don't mind their own business. The line went dead. I pressed the accelerator, memories flooding back. Nathan's mysterious business trips, the missing documents, the way he'd insisted on handling all our finances. How long? I asked Vanessa. How long have you really been after him? Since he killed my sister. She stared straight ahead. 5 years ago, same setup. She figured it out too late. The marina was 20 minutes away. We had one chance to stop this, to save my father, to end Nathan's game once and for all. I just hoped we weren't already too late. The marina's security lights cast long shadows across the water. Nathan's boat, the sweet revenge, how had I missed the irony? Bobbed gently at the end of the pier. No lights, no movement, just the quiet lapping of waves. There, Vanessa pointed to a figure moving near the stern. That's not Nathan. Marcus, I whispered, recognizing my brother's silhouette. He turned, face ghostly in the dim light. Stay back, he called out. He's got Dad below deck. I took a step forward. Metal clicked behind me. That's far enough. Nathan's voice, but different now. Colder, more precise. The Nathan I thought I knew had always been a performance. Drop the phone, Amelia. My phone clattered onto the dock. In my peripheral vision, Vanessa had disappeared. You too, Marcus, Nathan said. Though I have to admit, you played your part beautifully. Almost had me convinced you were really helping her. Marcus didn't move. It's over, Nathan. The real FBI is already what? Following false leads across 3 states? Nathan laughed. You really think I didn't have contingencies? Your sister's not the only one who knows how to plan revenge. Where's my father? My voice shook. Safe, for now. He moved closer, gun steady. You know what's funny? I actually liked your family, made it harder to do what needed to be done, but business is business. Was any of it real? I asked, though I already knew the answer. The beach house was. His voice softened slightly. I really did love that place. Your grandmother had excellent taste. The new owners got a bargain. Movement caught my eye. Vanessa, creeping along the adjacent dock. Nathan saw my glance and spun around. The gun went off. Marcus tackled Nathan from behind. They crashed onto the dock, the gun skittering away. I lunged for it, but Nathan's foot caught my ankle. I slammed down hard, wood splintering my palms. Amelia! My father's voice, weak but alive from below deck. The fuel line. Another shot cracked through the night. Marcus stumbled backward, clutching his shoulder. Nathan scrambled for the gun. You want revenge? He snarled, aiming at me. Here's what revenge gets you. Vanessa appeared behind him, a flare gun raised. Remember Claire? She asked. Nathan's eyes widened in recognition. The flare lit up the night, missing Nathan but striking the boat's hull. Flames erupted instantly. Dad! I screamed, running toward the cabin. Smoke poured from below deck. The fuel line's cut, my father called, stronger now. He rigged it to... The explosion knocked me backward. Heat seared my face as the boat's cabin erupted in flames. Through the fire, I saw Nathan running, Vanessa in pursuit. Get Dad! Marcus shouted, pressing his hand against his bleeding shoulder. I dove into the water, fighting through burning debris. The cabin door was locked. Through the window, I saw my father struggling with ropes, binding his hands. Something heavy hit the water beside me, a fire extinguisher. Marcus, thinking clearer than I was. I grabbed it, smashed the window, and pulled my father through just as the second explosion rocked the boat. We surfaced gasping. Marcus helped drag us onto the dock as emergency vehicles screamed in the distance. Nathan, I coughed. Gone. Marcus grimaced. Vanessa, too. My father sat up slowly, his wrists raw from the ropes. The documents, he wheezed. In my jacket pocket, everything we need to prove. But the jacket was gone, burned away with the boat and all our evidence. 5 years of Vanessa's investigation, all my carefully gathered proof, up in flames. He planned this, I realized. All of it. The dinner, the threats, everything to get us here with all the evidence in one place. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from Nathan. Sweet revenge indeed. Give your sister my love. I stared at the burning wreckage of the boat, of our case against him. We had nothing left. No proof, no leverage, not even the beach house. Just a wounded brother, a traumatized father, and the bitter taste of failure. He won, I whispered. No. My father's voice was steel. He just showed us exactly who he is, and now we know what we're really fighting. The marina burned behind us, lighting up the night with all our destroyed hopes. But in the flames, I saw something else too. The truth about revenge, about justice, about what it really means to win. 3 days after the marina fire, Jenna called. Turn on Channel 7, now. Nathan stood at a podium outside the courthouse, playing the victim perfectly. As a victim of investment fraud myself, I'm cooperating fully with authorities to help other families recover their assets. The camera panned to show my father in handcuffs, being led to a police car. My doorbell rang. Vanessa stood there, bleeding from a cut above her eye. I found him. 20 minutes later, we pulled up to the private airstrip where Nathan kept his real escape plan. A chartered plane ready for a one-way flight to a non-extradition country. He'll be here within the hour, Vanessa said, checking her phone. Your brother's text bought us time, making Nathan think the FBI was closing in on the west side of town. And the real FBI? Still working through the false leads. She pulled out a small recorder. But this might change that. The recording played, Nathan's voice discussing the marina setup, the fraudulent investments, everything, including Claire's murder. How did you hidden Mike during our last conversation, before he figured out who I really was? She touched her bruised face. He wasn't happy about that revelation. Movement at the hangar entrance caught our attention. Nathan emerged carrying a briefcase. That's it, Vanessa whispered. All the account information, the real documents, everything he took from everyone. I stepped out of the shadows. Going somewhere? Nathan froze, then smiled. That same charming smile that had once made me fall in love. I was wondering when you'd show up. It's over, Nathan. Is it? Your father's being charged with fraud. Marcus is under investigation. The beach house is gone. Seems like I'm the only one walking away clean. Not quite. Vanessa emerged, holding up the recorder. Remember our last conversation? His smile faltered. You really think anyone will believe? They'll believe the offshore account records, I cut in. The ones Mom's friend at the bank pulled this morning. They'll believe the witness testimony from your other victims, and they'll definitely believe this. I held up my phone, showing the live stream currently broadcasting to the FBI's tip line. Nathan lunged for the briefcase. Vanessa moved faster, but he was ready. The gun appeared in his hand. You know what your problem is, Amelia, he said, backing toward the plane. You always thought revenge was about justice. It's not. It's about power, about winning. No, I replied. It's about truth. The hangar lights flooded on. FBI agents emerged from behind planes, weapons raised. Marcus stepped forward, his injured arm in a sling. Actually, he said, it's about patience and having a sister who keeps really good financial records. Nathan's gun swung toward Marcus. I tackled him from behind, sending us both crashing into the concrete. The briefcase burst open, papers scattering. You really think this changes anything? Nathan spat blood. I'll still walk away, I always do. Not this time. Vanessa picked up the recorder she'd deliberately dropped earlier, the one he'd been focused on. While you were watching this, the real evidence was already being uploaded. Everything, Nathan. Every account, every victim, every lie. Including Claire? He asked quietly. Especially Claire. As the FBI led him away, Nathan looked back at me. For a moment, I saw something crack in his perfect facade. Fear, maybe, or regret. I did love you, he said. In the beginning? I know. That's what made it work. The briefcase's contents were already being cataloged as evidence. 5 years of schemes, of destroyed lives, of carefully planned revenge, all of it ending not with a dramatic showdown, but with paperwork and procedures. Was it worth it? Marcus asked, watching Nathan disappear into a police car. I thought about the beach house, about all we'd lost, about the difference between revenge and justice. Ask me tomorrow, I said. Vanessa touched her sister's photo on her phone screen. Tomorrow's good. Tomorrow's when the real work begins. The sun rose over the airstrip, painting everything in new light. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone else. Sometimes it's about finding the truth, even when that truth hurts more than the lies ever did. The beach house keys felt heavy in my palm. After Nathan's conviction, the property reversion clause had kicked in. Grandma Rose's final gift to me. Standing in the driveway, watching the sunset paint the waves orange, I almost expected to see Nathan's car pull up, his easy smile ready with another lie. Instead, it was Marcus who appeared, carrying a box of old files. Last of the victim statements, he said. Restitution hearings start next week. I unlocked the front door, breathing in the familiar scent of sea air and old wood. The furniture was still covered in sheets, like ghosts of a life I'd thought I wanted. Mom's asking about visiting, Marcus said, setting down the box. Dad, too, once the doctors clear him. They can come whenever they're ready. I pulled off one sheet, revealing Grandma Rose's favorite armchair. Though we might want to replace some things first. Speaking of replacing things, he handed me an envelope. This came to my office this morning, from Nathan's attorney. Inside was a letter, Nathan's precise handwriting somehow smaller than I remembered. I kept one truth from you. The night I met you wasn't random. I chose you because you were kind, because you believed in second chances. I thought that made you weak. I was wrong. It made you stronger than I could ever be. The house is yours. It always should have been. N. There's more, Marcus said quietly. The offshore accounts we couldn't trace? He gave them up. Every victim gets their money back. Even Vanessa's sister's family. Why now? Maybe the same reason you're here instead of selling this place. He gestured around the room. Some things matter more than winning. My phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa. Claire would have liked you. Thank you for helping me find the truth, even if it wasn't the one I expected. I tucked the letter away, unopened. Some truths didn't need to be read to be understood. Help me with these sheets? I asked Marcus. We uncovered the furniture piece by piece, letting light back into rooms that had held too many shadows. In the study, I found one of Nathan's old notebooks, filled with calculations and marks against people who'd trusted him. Should we keep any of this for evidence? Marcus asked. I shook my head, carrying the notebook to the fireplace. We have enough truth, some things we just need to let go. As the pages curled and blackened in the flames, I thought about revenge, how it had started as a simple desire to hurt Nathan back, but had become something else. Something that exposed not just his lies, but the complicated truths about justice, family, and forgiveness. You know, Marcus said, watching the fire, Grandma Rose used to say the house would tell us what it needed. Maybe it needed all of this, to clear out the old stories, make room for new ones. Through the window, I could see Jenna's car pulling up. She'd been helping coordinate support groups for Nathan's other victims, turning pain into purpose. You really keeping the house? Marcus asked. Yes, I said, surprising myself with how certain I felt. But not as a monument to what happened, as a reminder of what matters more. He raised an eyebrow. Which is? I opened the front door, letting in the sound of waves and Jenna's laughter as she carried groceries up the walk. In the distance, storm clouds gathered over the ocean, but here, in this moment, everything felt clear. The truth, I said. Even when it hurts, even when it's not the truth we wanted. Marcus nodded, understanding what I wasn't saying. About revenge and justice, about family and forgiveness, about the fine line between protecting ourselves and punishing others. The storm would come, as storms always do. But this time, I wasn't afraid of what it might wash away. Some foundations run deeper than betrayal, stronger than revenge. I stepped onto the porch, leaving the door open behind me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying what hurt us. Sometimes it's about building something new from the ruins, something stronger than what was lost. The waves crashed against the shore, constant as truth, changing as forgiveness. I was ready for both. Oh,